Hello everyone, this is BonOakley and we're back with another tier list video. I bet you haven't seen enough of those yet, have you? But today I think I will be doing something very unique, at least in terms of tier lists for Team Fortress 2, and that is ranking each of Pyro's taunts. Now I don't know what came over me the other day, but I suddenly had this idea that I wanted to rank taunts of all things. You know, it makes me seem like I'm running out of ideas, but I trust me when I say I have plenty of ideas left to make TF2 videos, don't worry. I just really had the urge to make a tier list video for this one time again. I mean, I know I've already done a tier list video for pyro weapons, but for some reason I wanted to do taunts, so I guess without any further delay, let's get on with it. So, this all includes every single pyro taunt, including the all-class taunts. So we've got about 31 to go through, and obviously we go from S to F. So our first one here is the Burst Chester. Now the Burst Chester is obviously an all-class one. It's pretty decent, I'd say. Each one has their own way of reacting to the bread popping out of their chest. And Pyro is kind of funny, you know, he's like thinking it's a small pet or something like that. So I think Pyro's version of the taunt is quite good. However, it's very simple, so I think it goes into B for now. Also, if you see them all cut up like that, it's because Tier Maker has a couple of options, and this was literally the best one. So I'm sorry if they look weird. The Conga. It's a pretty decent looping taunt. I don't think Pyro's is really all that interesting. Like, of course, the Pyro is having fun while doing the Conga, but it's nothing too special. But again, it's not a bad taunt, so I think this Conga goes into C. The Scorch Shot taunt. Now, this one's pretty cool. It's referencing Meet the Pyro, if you haven't seen it, which I would be pretty surprised if you hadn't seen Meet the Pyro at this point. But yeah, it references that one scene in the video where he thinks he's blowing bubbles, but he's actually shooting the scout. And the best thing about this one is you can actually kill people with it if you're close enough. So that's an A. That's an A ranked taunt right there. One of the newest ones, the Fist Bump. Oh, the Fist Bump's such a good taunt, and Pyro's version is pretty great as well. I'd say the Fist Taunt animation he does afterwards is pretty cute and fits the Pyro pretty well. So I would give that a solid B. It's above the Burst Chester for definite. The Flippin' Awesome taunt. Now this one is pretty decent as well. Pyro gets very excited after flipping whoever. So I don't know. I don't want to keep putting them all in B because we've already got two. I'll give this a high C. The Thermal Thruster taunt. It's certainly a unique taunt. It's the latest taunt kill one, so it has that upside. However, the problem is it takes forever, and it's kind of a meh taunt. Like, it's not that cool of a taunt for Pyro. It's not that it's bad, it's just a bad taunt kill. It's just not very fun, I suppose, is what I'm saying. I'm considering a low C to a D. I'll give it a low C for now, and then I can always adjust it at the end if need be. Alright, the Katskovsky Kick. Again, a great dancing taunt, a great looping taunt, so that's a bonus again. However, there's nothing really too unique about it in terms of Pyro. There's nothing that, I'm sorry if you heard that car. For some people really like making loud noises with their cars on this street. So again, I apologise for that. Anyway, back to the kick. It's a fine taunt. It's not bad. It's not great though. It doesn't really accentuate the Pyro's emotions and his personality very well. Is this going to be the first D? It's not bad. Like, I'm not saying the taunt at all is bad, but in terms of Pyro taunts, it's, yeah, I'm going to drop this at D. I might change it again soon. The Lollipop Taunt. It's kind of funny how it's cut off the Lollipop of all things, but yeah, this one again references Meet the Pyro near the start. I think this is a great taunt. I really enjoy the Lollipop Taunt. However, it's very short, but again, that could be a bonus in some people's eyes. However, it's Pyrovision restricted to see it at the way it's intended, because otherwise it's just twirling around a fire axe. So I will give that a pretty high C, honestly. Can I put it there? Thank you very much. The Man Rubix. I think this one is, obviously people have different opinions, but I think the Man Rubix is probably my favourite out of the dancing taunts for Pyro. It definitely has an interesting animation for sure. It's definitely higher than these at least. So I think a C is fairly decent for it. Yes, this one. This is well, it came with Meet the Pyro. It's the Rainblowers taunt kill. It's a decently long one, but it's nowhere near as long as the Thermal Thrusters kill. I think it's really cool because regardless of whether you have Pyrovision or not, it's a really funny taunt. If you have the Pyrovision, you have the rainbows, and then when he does the taunt kill, it goes all fiery. But if you don't have Pyrovision enabled, it's all fire, which just looks cool in general. So I give that a high B, honestly. That's a really cool taunt. The Director's Taunt. The Director's Vision, sorry. I really enjoy this one. Because not only is it a cool taunt to begin with, each class has a different version, obviously, since it's all class, but the Pyro specifically has 2 versions of it themselves, which is really cool. Each one is very unique, and I love it. So I think that deserves an A for sure, because not only is it a great taunt for Pyro, he has 2 versions, so yeah, that's good. The high 5, it's pretty good. I think the fist bump honestly just beats it. The Pyro's version of the high 5 is pretty decent, honestly. It's not bad, but it's nothing exceptional. So I say it's a B. I think it's a B. Did I put Lollipop down at C? I just realized. Nah, yeah, I'll keep it there. Rock, paper, scissors is quite funny. When the Pyro wins, he laughs at the person before they explode, if they're on the enemy team, that is. And if he loses, he cries like a baby, because I think that's kind of fitting for Pyro. Rock, paper, scissors is a partner taunt though, so you need someone else in order for it to work. However, I think it's definitely better than the Thermal Thruster for sure. Shredding Alert is okay, it's fine. There's nothing unique about it whatsoever for each class though. Like, every single class does the same thing. So, as a Pyro taunt, it doesn't really accentuate much of what Pyro is. But as a taunt itself, it's fairly good. But I've got to put it in a D. For Pyro specifically, it doesn't really accentuate anything the Pyro is or does. So, don't be mad at me, please. Alright. Alright, so now we've got the default primary taunt. The one where he raises above his head like a maniac. It's a good taunt. But short, sweet, not much else. You couldn't really do much else with the flamethrower. So I think this is decent for Pyro, but it's nothing special again. It's about C, about middle of the road C, I'd say. The Hadouken. The very first taunt kill for Pyro, and it's again the classic secondary weapon taunt. And for some reason our Hot Hand has it, which is strange, but yes. It's great. It's a Hadouken, it's a Street Fighter reference, obviously. It's funny, again, it doesn't really have anything to do with Pyro, but it's just such a classic taunt, honestly, that I think it deserves A at least, honestly. It's a taunt kill, which helps it. Short and sweet, it's probably one of the faster taunt kills, and it's just great. And again, another classic taunt. We have the Fire Axe one, or just any general melee one except the Hot Hand. It's just a cool one. And it's great, especially because if you have the Neon Annihilator, or what else is it, the Third Degree, you have unique sounds. So as a taunt, it has those small little details that are pretty cool. It's a great taunt in general, so I've got to give it a middle B. Can I put it down? There we go. It's a good taunt. Like, the default taunts are good, but the secondary and melee ones definitely are better than the primary. And again, nothing wrong with the primary one, it's decent. The laugh. Now, each class has a unique one. I think the Pyro's one isn't as insulting. I think, in my opinion, the Scouts and the Spies are probably the most insulting Schadenfreuders. Pyro is pretty middle of the road to more in the high terms of insulting rather than meh. Like, the Engineers is pretty meh, honestly, in my opinion, but that's a different video for another day if I really run out of ideas that badly. So I'd say it's a B. I think putting it a B is fairly decent. The Yeti Smash, I mean, I don't like any of the old class Jungle Inferno ones, to be fair. I've never owned any of the Yeti ones. It doesn't really accentuate much as a Pyro. I'm gonna put it in F. It's not good. It's not a good taunt in my opinion for Pyro. Now, this is the one, I forget the name, but I know it's the one where they transform into the Yeti and then punch the ground and then they do the little animation at the end. And Pyro's is fitting for Pyro, surprisingly enough. So I'm putting it in an E just because it shows off Pyro's personality a bit better than the Yeti punch. It's just a little better, but it's nothing mind-blowing. Alright, now we have the second-rate sorcery. I think the pose that the Pyro pulls off and everything, and he's telling it off at the end when he doesn't get it to work, it's great. It's certainly a high B. Oh, but is it better than the Fist Bump and the Rainblower? Ooh, this is, and yeah, no, it's definitely better than the melee taunt. Yeah, high B is good for it. Pyro, this is the headbutt taunt. I forget the actual name of it, but it's the headbutt taunt, and it's fine. It's a pretty interesting taunt in itself because everyone has their own unique one. It's funny how the Pyro sort of like yells at the end, like yeah, but it doesn't. It's not exactly the kind of personality that the Pyro's been mainly known for since, you know, Meet the Pyro. Like, again, these are all fairly good taunts, but I'm just looking at this in terms of the Pyro and his personality, not as taunts themselves. The headbutt. I'd say that's better than the Thermal Thruster, slightly. Thermal Thruster, I just think a lot of the taunts from Jungle Inferno were meh. But yeah, I think that's a fairly decent place to put it. The Do-Si-Do. Oh yeah, I really like the Do-Si-Do for Pyro actually, because he's clapping his hands like he's excited, which fits Pyro pretty well. Then after the dance, he does that wicked cool fire effect with his hand, and then takes a bow. That's a really cool part of the taunt. Again, the only thing that puts it down slightly is the fact that it's a partner taunt, so you have to have someone else taunt with you in order to see that at the end. But it's certainly a good C class one. We haven't had any S class yet, but we'll get there. The Ballooner Bouncer, like I said, we're going to get to the S class, and this is an S class taunt. It's just silly. It's the Lunacorn. The Pyro is just riding a bloody unicorn, or a Balloonacorn if you want to be really more specific. It's just silly. He's laughing while he's doing it. It's a loop taunt, so you don't have to keep doing it over and over again. You can just do it once and it keeps going until you want to stop. It's a great taunt. The Ballooner Bouncer is S class for certain. Now, I said all the Jungle Inferno taunts are bad, but this one is okay. It's definitely the best one out of the bunch. However, the fact that it's the head case, right? I think that's the name, but yeah, you know what it is from the picture. it's only the Heavy's head, which I know why it is, because it's the fact that it was the Heavy versus Pyro in Meet Your Match. So, of course, it's going to have to be the Heavy's head, but it's boring, the fact that it's Heavy's head every time. You could always have had a random effect where it's different classes' heads, even Pyro's heads, if you really wanted to. I'm pretty sure Sammy in my Discord recommended that as well, but it's a really good idea, to be fair. So, it's fine. It's better. It's probably about low C. It's kind of strange considering most of the taunts are C so far. Again, I might go through them at the end and change them about after, but yeah, it's looking like a lot of Pyro's taunts in terms of Pyro's personality is kind of meh. Oh, I forget the name of this one, but he makes a Lunacorn and then he burns it and he's like, haha, he claps his hands. And obviously if you have Pyrovision, it's a rainbow when it bursts, and if it's normal then it's just, you know, nothing special. This is a good taunt. I think this is a low A because Pyro, it shows off the Pyro pretty perfectly, honestly. Lunacorn is always a bonus for these kinds of ones as well because, I don't know, I just like the Lunacorn, it's funny. The Pool Party, again, it's a loop taunt, which absolutely helps it. It was added at the end of the line. I think it was the only taunt that was added in that update. It's an easy S class. It's not a taunt kill, obviously. The highest taunt kill is the Hadouken and the Scorch Shot, surprisingly. But yeah, the Pool Party is an easy S class because it's a loop. It shows off Pyro perfectly. Again, like the Balloon Bouncer. It's just in the terms of how I'm ranking them, it's got to show off Pyro's personality pretty well in order to rank high. And I think that ranks pretty high. The Scorcher Solo, the latest unique one for Pyro. Again, it doesn't show off Pyro perfectly. However, I think it fits Pyro enough, and it's a loop taunt to be an S. It's a good taunt. It's one of the best taunts Pyro's received in a long time. It's better than literally all of the Jungle Inferno ones combined. I would have taken Scorcher Solo over everything else. I wouldn't have cared if we didn't get another taunt kill with the Thermal Thruster if we got this instead of Jungle Inferno. That's how good I think the Scorcher Solo is. The Skaters, I forget the name, but it's the skating one. It's a loop taunt. Again, it's Pyro skating around on ice skates. It's great, it's a loop taunt. You can click the left and right buttons to do different animations, so you can get to see every single animation of the taunt without a partner. That's always useful. That is a high A for sure. Alright, so now we're down to the last two, which are all classes. I like this taunt. I like the Victory Lap a lot. It's one of my favourite taunts, but for Pyro, I don't know what I would say for Pyro themselves. I would give it a low C in terms of Pyro. Again, I love this taunt, but as a Pyro taunt, it's nothing special. Every single person is doing the same thing. And the Broom one is even more generic and boring. So that's a D. Like, I've not got anything else to say other than a D for that. It's just, you know. So yeah, this is the final tier list. I'd say works really well for Pyro. I think the ones higher up are either cooler or they just show off Pyro's personality much better than the ones lower down. The ones lower down are more generic. They take too long if they're a taunt kill. They're just not unique enough, I suppose. Like I said, the ones higher up show off the Pyro's personality much better, and they're funnier taunts in general, and I think they're just better. Taunt kills obviously get bonus points, but yeah, the ones higher up I just love more. Obviously, the Balloon Bouncer, Pool Party, and Scorcher Solo are great. They're all looping, so you can see a pattern there. Looping ones definitely are better than the ones that you have to do over and over again. So yes, I think overall this is the final one for the tier list. I'm not going to make any more changes. And in fact, if you want to make your own tier list, I will have a link down in the description so you can make your own. And if you want to share them with me on Discord or down in the YouTube comments, then go ahead. I don't mind. This is just my opinion after all. So that's why I wanted to make the template, so you could make your own and tell me I'm wrong, even though, again, it's just an opinion, funnily enough. So, yeah, this is my tier list for the Pyro Taunts, and as usual, this has been your Fem Pyro enthusiast BonOakley signing out. See you guys in the next one.